Hello everyone, welcome back to another GRIMGAR video. I've been making these fun little videos where I talk about the gear of the characters in GRIMGAR for the last couple of weeks. I was actually planning on making this video come out next week and do the review for volume 8 today, but unfortunately, I've been getting slowly into GRIMGAR burnout, as in I have been reading the books non-stop, and I've been slowly getting burnt out on them, so I've been taking volume 8 a little slower than the other ones, and I'm probably going to be taking a break from reading the books after the review for volume 8 comes out. Don't worry, I'm not burnt out on talking about GRIMGAR. I'm just burnt out on reading the books for a little bit, and I don't want to hate reviewing the books, so I'm going to just take a little break for a little while. I'm going to talk about other anime and other fantasy stories for a little while. I'm actually planning to talk about Frieren because oof, that story is wonderful. But today we're going to talk about Kuzuko's gear, Satoru's gear, and Moguzu's gear. We're not talking about Minato because he didn't get any new gear after he got his starting gear, so there's really no point. But if you enjoy content like this, please hit the like button, share, tell me in the comments down below, and let's get right into it. We're starting with Moguzu, and he gets a starting equipment that is basically just hand-me-down clothes from other volunteer soldiers who have died in the past. He gets a chainmail shirt. I recall the light novel specifying that the chainmail shirt wasn't all that good and there was actually broken chains, but I could be wrong. I believe that was something that they stated and had broken links in the chainmail itself, which is terrible. He was also given leather gloves and some worn boots. His starting weapon was a bastard sword. Later on in the first light novel, the characters all get their money together to buy him a new helmet. And I'm 100% sure that they also get money together to get him more actual plated armor. This is something that happened in the anime and in the manga, but I cannot remember if in the light novel they also got him more than just a helmet. I'm pretty sure they did though. If they didn't, Moguzu's more of a badass for fighting all those goblins and kobolds with just chainmail and a helmet. In volume 2, after the characters all beat Deathspot together, Moguzu got Deathspot's sword. Deathspot's sword had to be given to a blacksmith to remodel properly because it was just too big and unwieldy for Moguzu normally, so they had to reforge it. And the blacksmith did something special for it. We find out in volume 14 plus that the sword that was made by this blacksmith can only be wielded by Moguzu correctly. We have absolutely no idea how this is possible, but essentially he made it in a way where only Moguzu's hands can hold onto the sword. If anybody like Ranta or say you or me tried lifting it, the sword would be too heavy, and the balance of the sword will be very off. However, if Moguzu holds it, the sword is very, very light. Again, no idea how that is possible, but magic? Then Moguzu dies, and he gets nothing else for the rest of the light novel. So moving on. Next, we're going to talk about the newest member of Haruhiro's party. Quite frankly, one of the least appreciated characters, I feel like, personally. I might make a video on Satoru later. But anyway, we're talking about Satoru now. So Satoru starts the light novel with a meat golem. Yes, I'm counting her meat golem as a equipment. This is a sentient, undead monstrosity essentially made from parts of dead people that she uses a magical core that is a relic to bring it to life, essentially. This is why they call them necromancers. She also wields a katana and some knives. Later on in volume 12, Satoru gets a short sword and some daggers from a dwarven hole. From a dwarven dungeon. What the fuck, Wikipedia? Why does it say a dwarven hole? And in volume 15, Satoru took a spear, a sword, and a bunch of daggers from the volunteer soldier barracks. On the Wikipedia, there is no actual mention of her clothes that changed, but I know that there are some clothes changed throughout the entire light novel. I don't know if they draw that much attention to it, but I know that she gets a few different outfits throughout, and they're mostly just different forms of dresses. Here's a few illustrations of her just wearing, very similar dresses, but subtly changing throughout the entire light novel. At the end of volume 16, again, as I've said in past videos, very bad stuff happens to the party. And Satoru and the rest of the party are essentially forced to wear whole new outfits again. Satoru is given a pretty cute dress, honestly. But it's just a white and black dress with some red lining on it. And in the illustration, she's given, some skull staff. I don't think that's ever mentioned in the light novel, if I'm being entirely honest. I could be wrong, though. And in volume 17, we're aware that she has a new spear because Inoue tried to get creepy with her, and she is the wrong person to get creepy with. She will stab you, you dumb bastard. And finally, at the end of volume 18, more horrible stuff happens to the party. I'm not going to tell you what happens because of spoiler reasons, but Satoru has to get another different change of clothing, and for some reason, she looks like she did at the very beginning of the story, at least more so like she did at the very beginning of the story when she's introduced. And this is what she looks like in the illustration. She has some slightly different clothes, I think, kinda. I know this is different than her dress was, but this looks very similar to how she was introduced in the story. So we have no idea where she got this stuff from. I can't tell you any speculations without huge spoilers, but let's just say sad stuff happened to her, and yeah. But unfortunately, there's not really much I can tell you about her new clothes because the story doesn't really talk about anything about her new clothes. We just know that she has it because of the illustration. And now we're talking about Kuzaku, my boy. Kuzaku joins Haruhiro's party at Volume 4, and he actually starts at a much better place than Moguso, funny enough, because he actually starts with some chainmail and some actual plated armor with cloth over it. He also has a helmet with a visor on it that he can just pull down whenever he wants, so he's significantly better armored. He also buys a shield after his entire party gets wiped out, and he inherits all of their money. I'm sorry, that's not funny, but... It's fucked up. I'm sorry. However, in the end of Volume 4, the shield that he bought at the very beginning of Volume 4 gets absolutely destroyed, and probably one of my favorite fights in the entire light novel against this piece of crap is to buy an entire new shield and helmet in Volume 6. You can actually see the helmet in one of the illustrations. In Volume 7, he buys a curved trapezoid shield called a... oh, Jesus Christ. Gushtat? That is a horrible name for a shield. And he buys a pair of light, sturdy gauntlets. Ranta also gives him Betrayer Mark II, which, fun fact, Kuzuko has to purify by marking this sword with his blood to be able to use an ability called Saber on it, which increases the sharpness of the weapon and turns it into basically a light source. Kuzuko eventually finds a hawk-shaped helmet in the City of the Dead Ones in Volume 7, and due to the fact that his helmet that he's been wearing this entire time is very worn down, Kuzuko has to throw away his old helmet and uses the new hawk helmet. Ranta names the helmet Hawk Helm, and Kuzuko does not like this nickname at all. In Volume 10, Kuzuko gets a very large and sturdy katana from a mount of katanas. He also finds a heavy shield, and he uses the shield up until the end of, I believe, Volume 11, in which Kuzuko drops his shield, two-hands his katana, and starts cutting gorillas in half. And for the record, he does start picking up shields later on again, but he never actually uses any other shields. Like, it's mostly just using his katana and two-handing it for the rest of the story. For example, in Volume 12, when they all go into the Dwarven Dungeon, Kuzuko picks up a wide Dwarven dagger. He also gets a Dwarven helmet, which I would take that so fast, and a Dwarven shield. Quite frankly, I don't think he ever really uses the Dwarven shield. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments, but I don't think he ever actually uses a shield again for the rest of the story. He just has it, but he starts realizing how incredibly scary he could be with two-handing a single long weapon, and that's all he does for the rest of the story. And finally, at the end of Volume 16, when all the bad stuff happens to the party, Kuzuko gets an entire new look again, and it's pretty badass. Unfortunately, we don't get much of a good look in the illustrations of it, but I'm pretty sure it's just a full plated black armor that Kuzuko gets that, from what I can see from the side, it looks really cool. I just really want to see the entire armor set, though. Thanks, illustration! Like, it's not hard. You let everyone else have full, like, views of all their new, like, looks, but Kuzuko gets shafted here. Come on! Also, we do not know if Kuzuko got an entire new armor set. I'm pretty sure he does, but considering that what happened to him at the end of, Volume 18, he probably needs a whole new armor set. So I don't want to talk about it. But we're not 100% sure what it looks like because this is the only illustration we have with the new armor set, if he does have a new armor set at least. But that is all of the weapons and equipment for all the GRIMGAR characters throughout the entire story. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. Thank you to all of our subscribers over on Twitch who help keep the light on. Subscribe to our Twitch or use the thanks feature here on YouTube to show up at the end of our videos. And please go check out our Twitch. We're trying to get to 500 followers. We've been playing a lot of Pal World and Lethal Company, so please go check that out. We've been having a lot of fun, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great night or day. Bye!